Hello there, and thank you for staying with Lolwe TV on this 22nd day of May 2018. You are now watching Business Tuesday. But first, let's take a look at what's coming up right ahead. Meet South Africa's youngest millionaire at only 23 years old. Turkana residents oppose 5% deal signed between county and national governments on oil revenue sharing. Government suspends NCPB regional managers amid allegations of malpractice in buying of cereals. And American security agency kicks off audit of JKA to establish readiness for direct Kenya-US flights. My name is Eddy Nyadwa and the program begins right now. And we begin with some good news. Meet South Africa's youngest millionaire at only 23 years old. Now, the foreign exchange market is the biggest financial market in the world. At least $4 trillion is traded in the market on a daily basis. This market is known for its volatility and high-risk nature, which is why it is mostly traded by banks and big corporates. However, a young South African trader has managed to crack it. Sandile Shezi has successfully learned how to trade currency, and at just 23, he's become one of the country's multi-millionaires. The young millionaire now wants to empower other young South Africans to do the same. Here is his story.
This is actually where I grew up. That's my grandmother's place. I spent a number of years, more than a decade, living in these streets. However, for me, you know, it's not a lot of young people or a lot of black people who make it out of this township and do well for themselves. But at the same time, there are people such as your Sandile Zungu. He grew up in this township and right now he's running one of the most successful companies in South Africa. And it's one of the people that I used to say, you know what, if he can do it, why can't I? My parents gave me my tuition fees for the year to go and pay for university, and I actually took the entire amount and I threw it in the Forex market. I actually started trading through Standard Bank online, where I was buying and selling stocks. But at that time, I didn't really take it that seriously. After working on a few businesses, I realized that, you know what, if I really put my entire energy into this thing, I could actually make it big. Being a young trader, I started networking with other people already in the trading industry. That's when I was introduced to what we call currency trading, which is the Forex market. Then I moved over. When we started the business, it was very challenging and difficult. For us as young people, we never studied business management. We don't come from an economics background or those kind of things. For us, it was more about, you know what, get a company registered, just get it off the ground, open an office and you know, just jump in the deep end. And of which when we got started, that's when we realized things are not as easy as they look. You can't just open a laptop and start trading. You got to understand what you're doing, and that's where my company comes in. That for us, it's about grooming people and making them understand that when is the right time to buy, when is the right time to sell, and how do you go about avoiding losing your capital. We want to empower everybody about Forex. You know, we want to make sure the masses know about trading.
I might be holding on and I end up having a repeat of what happens to the Zim dollar. I hold on, it loses more value. I hold on, it loses more value. Eventually what I'm holding on to has no value.
As a company, we do what we call free beginners classes. So essentially anyone and everyone, irrespective of background or education, qualification, they can come through for a free beginners class, of which there is no fee for that. They don't even pay for the seats when they attend. And essentially, we pretty much give them all the basics they need about Forex and what we do as a company.
How did Aliko Dangote become the richest guy in Africa? I wanted to know, how did Tony and Lulu become one of the most respected billionaires in Nigeria? How did Sandile Zungu, a black boy from a township in Durban, make so many billions in his lifetime?
When you get into entrepreneurship, the first thing in your mind is money. That, you know, I need to make money, I need to feed myself, I need to be able to take care of my expenses. But once you have done that, you start looking at a bigger picture that, you know what, I've got employees to take care of. I've got people to make sure that we take care of. We've got clients in a number of different cities. So for me, it's more about giving value than just making money at this point.
Wow, that's really encouraging, being a millionaire at only 23 years. But you have to admit, it takes a lot of risk for you to make it in the financial markets. Now moving on back to Nairobi is that the Nairobi County Assembly Speaker Beatrice Elachi has called for a truce between Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko and the national government. Ms. Elachi, together with members of the Nairobi County Assembly Liaison Committee, said that a lot has been happening in the capital and that it was time for the governor and the national government to give it a break. Elachi now wants governor to be supported fully by the state.
I think there is a lot happening, and what we want to say as a county assembly, and I think today I just want to now plead for truce. It is our wish that our governor, the national government, we have truce. I know there's a lot that is facing our governor. Let us not prove that when someone comes from a nobody place, this is how we can go as a country. I think the most important thing, and I've said many times, it is important we will support our governor. I, as Madam Speaker, my job was one, to ensure the governor has the regulations, the law on how to manage Nairobi. That one, 100% with my team, we will do it. But I also want now to plead with the national government. I think the constitution was also very clear that indeed if you want to work with the county, there are those MOUs that you put in place, you sign them, and you are able to work. We would want to see that happening now so that we have a legal framework, so that we don't have these conflicts and everyone thinking because Governor Sonko is in Nairobi County, you can just come in, do this, leave, and no. The constitution was clear, demarcated, that when you want to work together, the national government and the county government must agree on a framework. We are also pleading with the office of the president to bring truce. I think we have had enough between the governor and the secretary. For us, we need truce. We need to see also, I need to see my honorable members working in harmony with the chiefs on the ground, with the DCs on the ground. When we have this conflict, it becomes very difficult also for them to execute their job. And therefore, we are pleading. We want truce, and Your Excellency, we want truce. You cannot do what was messed in 30 years. You cannot expect Governor Sonko to have in 4 months roads, 4 months garbage. I think it will be unfair to him completely. And that is where I always stand in and say, I will support him there, because I know we are being unfair. We are being unfair when just the other day, we passed the supplementary budget. We know very soon we are closing the year. I want to plead with him, commit all your monies to the projects that you had given us to pass. Commit, so that you are able also to start working. There's no way he can perform when all these things are in a mess like this. There's no way he can perform when you want to tell me with this rain you want to see roads happen. They will be drained again, and then we'll go back to the same problem. So I have pleaded with everyone, let us give Governor Sonko up to September. There, you have a right now to start pointing your fingers. You have a right to question him. But for now, give him a chance.
Now, those wrangles comes amid cries by Nairobians that indeed the city has fallen into a decaying stature, given that the roads have been poorly done. Although now the roads are being done, also you find that Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko had nominated Miguna as his deputy, something that some Jubilee members had violently opposed. Anyway, now let's move to Turkana, where just hours after Turkana leaders struck a deal with President Uhuru Kenyatta at State House, Nairobi, on suitable sharing of revenue from the oil discovered in the county, their first assignment was to educate the residents of Lokichar on the content of the unexpected agreement. The county government will now get 20% of the revenue, community 5%, while the 75% is left to the national government.
Leo kutoa shukrani kwa Mheshimiwa Rais na makamu wake, kwa sababu ya vile tulitatua mambo ya Petroleum Bill 2017. Ile settlement ilikuwa kule bungeni, tuliamua kwa pamoja ya kwamba hiyo capping tutaitoa. Sasa ile shida ilikuwa Turkana ya capping ilitoka. Mheshimiwa Rais aliamua namna hiyo. Pamoja tukaamua ya kwamba hiyo itakuwa. benefit sharing percentages tukasema 75 kwa national government, 20% kwa county government, na community ipate 5%. Na hiyo 5% itakuja hapa Lokichara. Sisi ndio wenyeji na sisi ndio tunashika hiyo mafuta. Magari ya mafuta itaanza kutoka hapa mwezi wa 6. Mheshimiwa Rais mwenyewe atakuja hapa to flag off matrela kwenda kule Mombasa. Na ningependa kwa pamoja tumkaribishe Mheshimiwa Rais siku hiyo.
Leo tulianza mkutano saa 1 ya asubuhi State House. Na tukamaliza saa 6. Saa 6 ndio tulifikia uamuzi. Na tulikuwa tunajadiliana na tukasema baka tusikizane tuweze kupata sisi wote, community hapa, serikali ya county na serikali ya kitaifa ipate faida yote. Na ndio sababu viongozi wale wengine wamesema ile ilikuwa shida zaidi ilikuwa ni capping. Na hiyo nashukuru rais na naibu wake walikubali kuondolea capping kando.
And still saying with the sharing of oil revenue is that local communities in Turkana County have expressed their dissatisfaction with the oil revenue sharing agreement and have accused their leaders of leaving them out to dry. On Saturday, President Uhuru Kenyatta announced that the deal had been reached and will see the community only get 5% of the revenue. The community leaders now want the government to increase their allocation from 5% to 10%.
Swali ni kwamba hii 5% na ile 10% yenye sisi tulikuwa tunapigania tukiwa community ya Turkana, mbona wao wakakubali kule bila hata kuja kutuelezea sisi namna hii 5% itakuwa equally distributed to the entire county so that itupatie sisi notion ya kusema kwamba hiyo 5% inatutoshea. Sisi hatukubaliani na hiyo hata.
Mimi nilikuwa nataka 10%, 30%, 20% kwa county government, 10% kwa community na Turkana mzima, sio Lokichara peke yake.
And we now cross over to Mombasa County, where Mombasa Police Commander Johnston Ipara with the lands officials and other senior officers have put up efforts to settle a land dispute at Muganda area in Maritini, where squatters and a private developer are in conflict over its ownership.
Ile ni yote ilipangwa mahali pamoja. Hii yote hii.
Sisi hayo. Hawa ndio watatupea mwelekeo sasa.
Tukatangaziwa process ya scheme. Kwanza itakuwa registration, no picking, ya pili registration, ya tatu beaconing. Na kulikuwa kumekuwa nini jukwaa hapo. Na tukaagiziwa kwamba chukue makini sana wakati wa beaconing, tujue tunaikuwa beacon zetu vipi. Watu wa survey alipokuja tukaonyeshwa watu wa survey mkutano wa pili. Mkutano wa tatu wakaanza picking za nyumba. Tukapikiwa nyumba zetu zote wakamaliza. Kufika kwa registration tukaambiwa
fafanua hapo picking mlipiki nini? Unaita
picking structure nyumba.
Zile zenye ziko.
Zile nyumba ambazo ziko.
Title deed haiwezi wekelewa nyingine title deed juu. Kwa hivyo mtu asikae kwa hii private akiwa na matumaini ya kwamba atagawiwa. Sijui kama mnanielewa. Hakuna mtu anatakiwa mislead wengine ya kwamba hii private atapata nafasi.
Atufungie biashara.
Hata huyu wa shule yetu ame. Hata huyu wa maji hapa kama amejenga ame. Hata huyu plot yetu hii ame.
Lakini kama kwake ndani
hizo zote ni private.
Hizo zote ni private.
Lakini yetu ni yetu ya serikali. Yetu ya serikali ni hii ni ya mabwenyenye.
Kwa hiyo sijui kama mtajipanga mkutane na maosa ya settlement na survey wako hapa. Ndio tumekuja na wao. Mwagane showing mtaonyeshwa siku gani. Mtu na nguvu zake anza kuhama.
No, hata yeye mwenyewe amesema lot ni 148.
Yes.
Hata inajulikana 148. Kwa hivyo 148 hata sisi ndio hii. Hata huyo mwingine naamini ako area hii tu, si ndio?
Wote tuko area hiyo.
Kwa hivyo wote wako kwa ile plot, sio ile serikali tumepewa nayo. Si ndio? Tumekubali hiyo kwanza. Sisi wote hata wewe uka hapa si atumekosea. Kitu ile wewe hujaambiwa plot yako ni gani.
Tatizo sio hilo Mr. Ibara.
Tusibadilishe kwanza. Kitu ya kwanza tunataka kujua ploti. Tunataka tulisema juzi kwa radio na wewe. Tunakuja hapa kwa sababu ya kutambua ya kwanza. Kila mtu ako kwa ploti yake. Kila mtu. Tukipata kila mtu yuko kwa ploti yake. Yako hiyo ulipewa iko wapi? Tukipata yako pia umesikia iko chini huko. Kwa nini hujaenda kwa yako? Kwa nini ukatalia ya wenyewe? Wewe unajua hiyo ni makosa ukatalia kwa mali sio ya serikali. Na hata wewe umethibitisha kwamba hii mali si ya serikali. Hii imeandikwa manamba ndio yetu serikali. Kwa nini tuende kwa mali ya wenyewe kukatalia ndani?
Sasa Mr. Ibara, hatujakatalia ploti ya mwenyewe.
Ndio mimi nimesema dawa ndio hii.
Sasa ndio sawa.
Ndio hii.
Na mimi nataka nizungumze, nipoe nafasi yangu na
tulia kwanza interpretation. Wewe umesema yako baya. Tunapata
sababu ya mimi yeye anasema sisi tumekatalia.
Government has suspended NCPB regional managers amid allegations of malpractice in buying of cereals. Albin Sang has been appointed as the acting managing director at the National Cereals and Produce Board, replacing Newton Terrer, who resigned last week. Dr. Richard Lesempai, the Principal Secretary for State Department for Crops Development, announced the changes, which included the appointment of Mutea Ringo as the chairman of the board.
As a board, we have said that all the 3 regional managers, regional manager of Lake Western Region, regional manager of North Rift, the regional manager of South Rift, are all hereby suspended until full investigations are conducted. It's a situation where the union farmers who brought their maize to our silos, who brought their maize to our depots, have not been paid, while we have traders and merchants who brought huge consignments of maize and they have been paid. And they bring their maize and it takes us almost 6-7 months to pay them, while those who probably either buy or use other means bring their maize and they are paid within 7 days. As we speak now, we have got about 20 merchants and traders who have no farms, who have been fully paid, almost 80% paid, while I've got 3,800 farmers, smallholder farmers who have not been paid.
And now to some good news is that American security firm has commenced a week-long audit of the JKIA ahead of the direct flights between Nairobi and New York. The audit is said to determine whether Kenya has addressed security issues raised by the Transportation Security Administration officials as the country prepares to get the last point of departure status. The audit is critical as Kenya Airways plans to start direct flights to John F. Kennedy International Airport in New York on October 28th. The government is now urging Kenyan doctors to accept the importation of 100 Cuban specialists to help improve the health system in the country. Health Cabinet Secretary Cecil Kariuki says that the Kenyan doctors should not be self-centered. She said that the deployment of the Cuban doctors will start on June 1st, with each county getting at least 2 specialists. However, the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Board, KMPDU, is opposed to the importation of the foreign doctors. The union instead urges the government to use the money in recruiting more than 1,200 jobless Kenyan doctors.
I would want to ask my brothers and sisters, Kenyan doctors, not to be worried for 2 reasons. One, the Cuban doctors come in to complement what the specialized doctors in this country are doing at the moment. The ratio that we have of specialized health workers today is very, very low, at about 250 specialized doctors. You can see we are in dire need of additional capacity here. But number 2, these Cuban doctors come in to are not ordinary general kind of doctor. So the competition is actually is not existent. But important, the Cuban doctors are actually coming to capacity build our own doctors, bringing in the experience of Cuba, again reiterating that of the countries that have attained UHC, Cuba ranks very highly. And therefore, we want also to use these doctors to help us in understanding the Cuban approach, you know, so that we can also be able to benchmark.
And now to some agricultural news is that Kenya's earnings from coffee dropped by 11% in the first 6 months of the year to 11.6 billion shillings compared to 13 billion shillings earned in a similar period last season. Data from the Nairobi Coffee Exchange indicates that the dip in earnings is a result of a drop in prices in the global market. This in turn affected Kenya's Arabica beans, which have been experiencing a 3-year low in the season. The NCE also reports that the volumes of coffee traded within the same period also dropped by 6% due to several factors such as delays in delivery to the market as a result of heavy rains. The Kenya Tea Development Authority KTDA has suffered a blow after the Kericho High Court declined an affidavit seeking to introduce new documents in a case where the county government had sued the agency. In a petition filed in 2014, Governor Paul Chepkwony had accused the agency of charging farmers extra monies for management services and urged the court to compel KTDA to refund 87 billion shillings to farmers.
The direction of how the tea industry is being run will change completely after the conclusion of this case, so that we can have justice and benefits coming to the farmers.
Raise new issues which we were not well acquainted with before and which would have been prejudicial to our case. They have taken 17 months to lodge this appeal, and which time has caused suffering and pain to the farmers of Kericho and indeed to all the stakeholders in the tea sector.
Tana County Commissioner Oningoi Olesosio says government will forcefully evict residents of Tana River from unsafe grounds. Energy Cabinet Secretary last week appealed to residents of Bura, Garissa, Hola to move to safer grounds following spillage at the Masinga Dam.
Hata ingawaje tunasikia iko maji ile inaweza toka kwa zile dams Kiambere na Masinga, tumeshatoa tahadhari kwa watu wetu. Tumeshaambia wale officers wetu kwa ground, chiefs na DCCs na ACCs wote, tayari watu wamehamasishwa kupitia pia kwa media ile local radios. Tayari tushatangazia watu kwamba msonge, na hakuna mtu sahihi hana hiyo habari. Lakini wa ile experience kidogo tuko naye ni kwamba unaambia watu hata mara ngapi, lakini kunao wachache wanabaki. So bado tunatafuta hao wachache, tukiona kabisa they are in real danger tutahamisha hata kwa lazima. Na tumeambia hivyo, tukiona umeenda mahali ambayo tunaona maisha yako iko hatarini na kwamba maji ikiongezeka kidogo utaenda, majambo tukufurushe ili maisha yako isipotee, kwa sababu hiyo maisha tunathamini. Lakini hatujakuwa na kisa kama hiyo hapo nyuma, na sidhani kama tutakuwa naye wakati huu. Ile 107 camps ni ishara tosha kwamba watu walisikia mwito na wamekuja mahali ambapo ni salama. Na sisi pia tujawaleta wadau wale ambao wamekuja hapo hawajahangaika na kitu ya kula. Huenda ikawa haitoshi kwa sababu ya ile modalities ya namna ya kuwafikishia, lakini kunaye cha.
And now in Tharaka-Nithi County is that Governor Muthomi Njuki has cancelled all liquor licenses in the county in a bid to fight the illicit brew.
The licenses that they hold were fraudulently given, and therefore I have cancelled them. I have said people must apply because the licenses are given by a committee or a board which has not been in place. So if you have it, it is fraudulent. About the court order, the court are not only open to brewers, they are also open to the county. If you take us to court, we meet there. And even those courts are manned by people who have children, who have wives, who have responsible relatives who are citizens of this country, who cannot be allowed to die out of illicit because of court order. I'm sure even the courts are alive to that fact. So those people who think they can hide in courts, they will be in for a very rude shock. Because at the moment, we are ready to pambana na wao mpaka hizo hata hiyo Supreme Court. And the issue that has been there of delays, because sometimes maybe they take county court, county does not respond. We have a legal officer now in place. We have lawyers in place. If you bring one, we'll bring 5.
And on that note, we've come to the end of Business Tuesday edition of this week. Remember, Business Tuesday is your favorite business program that I compile for you the business news that made headlines over the week. My name is Eddy Nyadwa, and thanks for watching.